There's a secret that the top 1% of daters know, something so powerful yet so subtle that most people go their entire lives without discovering it. It's not about looks, money, or even charm. It's about understanding a single psychological principle that rewires how someone's brain perceives you. Imagine being able to create attraction, not by doing more, but by strategically doing less. What if I told you that the reason you're not getting the results you want in dating isn't because you're not trying hard enough? It's because you're trying too hard. Today, I'm going to whisper a secret into your ear that will change everything you thought you knew about attraction. Let me take you back to 1974, to a psychology experiment that would forever change our understanding of human attraction. Researchers Donald Dutton and Arthur Aaron conducted a study on a suspension bridge in British Columbia. They had an attractive woman approach men in two different locations, one on a terrifying suspension bridge swaying 230 feet above a rocky canyon, and another on a stable, safe bridge just 10 feet off the ground. After brief conversations, she gave each man her phone number. The results were shocking. The men on the scary bridge were almost 4 times more likely to call her later. But why? This is where the magic happens, a phenomenon called misattribution of arousal. Here's what your brain does. When you experience physiological arousal, elevated heart rate, sweaty palms, quickened breath, your mind searches for an explanation. On that bridge, the men's bodies were in a state of heightened arousal from fear. But when they saw an attractive woman, their brains misattributed that physical excitement to romantic attraction instead of fear. Their racing hearts weren't just from the height, their minds convinced them it was chemistry. This is the exact same mechanism that makes roller coaster dates, horror movie nights, and adventurous first dates so incredibly effective at creating attraction. Now you might be wondering, how does this relate to playing hard to get? This is where it gets beautifully elegant. When you make yourself too available, too predictable, too easy to reach, you create zero physiological arousal in the other person. There's no uncertainty, no chase, no emotional roller coaster. Their heart rate stays perfectly calm. But when you strategically create space, when you're not always immediately available, when you add just a touch of unpredictability, you activate that same arousal system. Their heart races when they see your name pop up. They feel butterflies when you finally respond. And their brain, just like those men on the bridge, misattributes that nervous energy to attraction. Let's be crystal clear about something important. This isn't about game playing or manipulation. This is about understanding the fundamental architecture of human desire. Psychologically speaking, humans are wired to value what feels scarce and to pursue what creates arousal. When something comes too easily, our brains categorize it as low value. It's not a conscious choice, it's evolutionary programming. The hunter-gatherer part of our brain that kept us alive for millennia is still running the show when it comes to attraction. That ancient wiring says, if I had to work for it, if it made my heart race, if there was uncertainty in the chase, it must be valuable. Here's where most people get it catastrophically wrong. They think playing hard to get means being cold, distant, or disinterested. Absolutely not. The real secret is creating emotional variability, intermittent reinforcement, as psychologists call it. This is the same principle that makes slot machines addictive. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, and that unpredictability keeps you pulling the lever. In dating, this means being warm and engaging when you're together, but not being constantly available. It means creating memorable, exciting experiences when you connect, then allowing space in between. You're not being mean, you're being strategic. You're creating those peaks of excitement that make someone's heart race, followed by valleys of anticipation. Let's talk about the roller coaster date secret specifically. Why do exciting, adrenaline-pumping dates create more attraction than calm, comfortable ones? Research from multiple studies confirms that shared arousing experiences, whether it's rock climbing, dancing, horror films, or even heated debates, increase attraction between two people. The key is that the arousal must be positive or at least shared. When you go on a roller coaster together, ride a motorcycle, or do something that elevates both your heart rates, you're both experiencing that physiological arousal simultaneously. Your brains link that person with those feelings of excitement. This is why dinner dates, while nice, rarely create the spark that adventurous dates do. But here's the sophisticated twist that separates the masters from the amateurs. You need to pair arousal with moments of genuine connection. The arousal creates the attraction, but authentic vulnerability creates the bond. This is the formula. Excitement plus authenticity equals magnetic attraction. After the adventurous activity, you need moments of calm where you can actually talk, where you can be real, where you can create emotional intimacy. The physiological arousal opens the door, but your genuine self is what makes them want to stay. Think of it as a rhythm. Intensity followed by intimacy, excitement followed by emotion, adventure followed by authenticity. Now let's address the elephant in the room. What about long-term relationships? Does this principle still apply? Absolutely, and perhaps even more critically. The number one complaint in long-term relationships is that the spark has faded, that things have become too predictable, too routine. What's really happened is that you've stopped creating physiological arousal together. The solution isn't to play hard to get with your long-term partner. It's to intentionally create experiences that elevate both your heart rates. Novel experiences, mild challenges, shared adventures, even playful disagreements. These all activate the same arousal system that creates attraction. Stable relationships need intentional instability in the form of new experiences. Let me share a counterintuitive truth that will save you from the most common dating mistake. Desperation repels, but indifference doesn't attract either. The sweet spot is engaged unavailability. You're genuinely interested when you're present, but you're not always present. You have a life, passions, goals, and priorities beyond this person. This isn't a strategy you perform, it's a lifestyle you embody. When you actually have other things going on in your life, when you're genuinely busy pursuing your purpose, you naturally create that arousal-inducing scarcity. The most attractive version of playing hard to get is not playing at all. It's being someone whose life is so full that access to you is genuinely limited and therefore valuable. Here's the practical application you can implement immediately. The 24-hour rule combined with peak experiences. When someone reaches out to you, don't respond instantly every single time. Allow some messages to sit for a few hours or until the next day, not to be manipulative, but to demonstrate that you have a life beyond your phone. However, when you do connect in person, make those moments count. Plan dates with built-in arousal, escape rooms, dance classes, hiking, concerts, anything that elevates the heart rate. Then, after these peak experiences, strategically reduce contact slightly. The contrast between intense connection and brief distance creates that psychological roller coaster. Their brain will start to associate you with excitement, unpredictability, and high value. Let's talk about the dark side for a moment, because ethics matter. This knowledge can be weaponized, and some people do exactly that. They create anxiety instead of excitement, trauma bonding instead of healthy attraction. The difference is intention and respect. Healthy arousal-based attraction respects boundaries, operates with honesty about intentions, and never involves cruelty or mind games. You're not trying to make someone suffer or feel insecure. You're simply understanding that attraction requires some level of uncertainty and physiological activation. If you're using these principles to trap someone who's clearly not interested, you've crossed from psychology into manipulation. The goal is to amplify existing mutual interest, not to trick someone into feeling something they otherwise wouldn't. Here's what the top 1% truly understand. Attraction isn't about perfection. It's about creating emotional experiences. People don't fall in love with those who are always available, always predictable, always stable. They fall for those who make them feel alive, who create peaks and valleys in their emotional landscape, who pair excitement with authenticity. The science is clear. Misattribution of arousal is real, and you can ethically use it to amplify attraction. So create those heart-racing moments. Be genuinely busy with the life you love. Show up fully when you're present, then create space. Be warm but not desperate, interested but not obsessed, available but not constant. Master this rhythm and you'll never struggle with attraction again. The secret has been whispered, now it's yours to use wisely.